Welcome to Coaching with Confidence and Care podcast, inspired by common topics that arise in coach training, mentoring, and supervision. My name is Luba Diasamidze. I am the founder of Upthink Coaching, an active coach trainer, mentor, and supervisor. If you are listening, you are probably looking to deepen your skills as a coach. I hope this podcast will be a helpful resource for you and contributes to your journey. Hello, everyone. It literally has been ages since I recorded my last podcast episode. I was totally immersed in our advanced coach training cohort, which has now graduated with flying colors. And I had a lot of intercultural work with new leaders who changed countries and needed some coaching support for that. Finally, I am right here, back with you, with a topic that I promised to cover a long time ago. And that is finding or crafting your own coaching style. This is a very popular question, especially among coaches who are newer or less experienced and therefore may feel more hesitant and careful in sessions with their clients, or even may experience some tension. They know all the basics, like how coaching is different from other modalities, how to deliver a well-structured coaching conversation, and demonstrate core coaching competencies in their sessions. However, they may have a feeling that their sessions are a bit too formal or stiff, lack a natural flow, and are filled with standard questions that all coaches ask in their sessions. In this episode, I want to share some thoughts on this puzzle that many coaches seem to be facing, along with a few ideas on where to start looking for answers. Hopefully, it will be helpful for anyone trying to find their own unique coaching style. Why does this question even exist? I think one of the reasons could be that coaching students cover a lot of guidelines during their training, what it means to be a coach, and how that is different from everything else. What is ethical and what is not, how coaching sessions are evaluated, and that you are supposed to master a number of behaviors and naturally demonstrate them in sessions. This is a lot of information. You know, when people see how effortlessly professional coaching sessions flow, they cannot imagine how many skills and how much practice goes behind that. Once they start to learn about all of that, that may seem overwhelming. It may also create a wrong impression that there's only one way to be or do things as a coach. So, some coaches may be unclear about to what extent they can flex their style and how much of themselves they can reveal with their clients while keeping the client in the spotlight. You know, my curiosity is piqued every time when I hear a coach say, how can I find my own style? Or how can I balance between sounding authentic and meeting all the requirements for a good coaching session? Sometimes when I have these conversations with coaches about what is okay or not okay, what is enough or too much, what is acceptable or not advisable in coaching sessions, to what extent they can be themselves, and at the same time be mindful of keeping the coaching mindset consistently, I have a hunch that it has something to do with permission. I may be wrong, but my intuition tells me that they may be subconsciously or consciously asking whether they have a permission to be themselves in their sessions, even if there is a risk of being disliked, losing a client, or breaking some rules, or at least what looks as rules to them. So if this is resonating with you, and I'm slowing down here intentionally to create more space for you to connect with yourself, if you are feeling that you need a permission to do that, pause for a moment and give yourself that permission. Because nobody took that away from you in the first place. And since we already started this honest conversation, I want to remind you that one of the most basic needs all humans have is relatedness, and the need for acceptance is closely related to that. We all try to fulfill this need to a certain extent in different types of relationships that we have in our life, in our social circles, in close relationships, and in our professional world. Of course, we all want to be accepted by our meaningful connections, including our clients. If you question yourself whether you are a good enough coach, worry that there is nothing special about you, or fear that clients may reject you, all this creates tension, drains energy, and it's a difficult place to be. Many coaches internalize messages with shoulds. For example, I should never do this in my sessions, or I should never do things in that way, or maybe I should do things only that specific way. While well-intentioned, such rigid interpretations can box in the coach's natural style. In order to avoid dealing with these questions, some practitioners may revert to safer and more generic ways of coaching, and that may make their coaching feel robotic, overly careful, or tentative. If you are experiencing a confusion or an inner conflict that doesn't allow you to see the coach you already are, a good question for reflection here might be, what part of me am I hiding in order to look professional? Sometimes newer coaches, and even experienced ones, fall into the trap of thinking they have to sound or act a certain way to be taken seriously. And for that, they have to mirror their mentors or well-known coaches, as those are examples that are available to them. Or they might think that they have to sound a certain way to be liked by their clients. And this performance mindset can create a disconnect between who they are and how they show up. I feel part of the problem may lie in a perception that once you call yourself a coach, it's a kind of a new identity that you're adopting. And it seems separate from all the other roles that you had before. Even people who are experts in their own field, highly skilled and experienced, often feel like all that expertise suddenly counts for nothing, and they're back to being beginners just because they are new coaches. This is definitely a myth that deserves to be busted, because isn't this surprising? In reality, shouldn't you feel more rather than feel less? You are an adult professional, you've kept all your expertise, and on top of that, you got some new invaluable skills of how to relate to people better, help people to find solutions, and see opportunities, understand themselves more deeply. You have become more, not less. And I think realizing that and owning that and integrating that all takes you in the direction of connecting with your own coaching style. Yes, there is an expectation that coaches are non-directive. It doesn't imply that when you are stepping into the role of a coach, you have to forget everything you have done before and everything that you already are. Some coaches may hear this as a contradiction. So you are telling me I can do myself and I can bring my whole self to my sessions, and there is value that I'm bringing through my authentic being with a client. But at the same time, I need to stay client-focused. I need to be cautious so that I don't influence the client, or don't direct, or don't impact the client, or don't prompt, or don't lead the client. I understand these may sound counterintuitive, but in reality, it's not A or B. It's yes and. Yes, you can be yourself, and experiencing you, the authentic you, is an important part of your client's journey. But experiencing you and your authentic responses does not mean repeating your steps or taking on your beliefs. So another good question for reflection here could be, where have I confused best practices with fixed rules? There are multiple ways to show trust in sessions, multiple ways to create awareness. You can be as subtle as you want or as direct as you want. You can be soft or you can be daring. Anything that helps your clients, really. I have this metaphor of a playing field that many of my colleagues like. And I say the size of the field is the boundaries of the coaching modality. We agree on the boundaries. We agree on the rules of the game. We co-create agreements with our clients about various aspects of our work and relationships. And once we've established the rules of the game, once we are in agreement about what game we are actually playing, you can have your style and you play however you want. Now, how do you want to be with your clients? This is a great question. Do you typically bring your whole self to work? Do you trust that you will be accepted when you reveal your whole self in a professional setting? Or do you believe that there are more productive traits that you should bring to work and less productive traits that you should leave behind? Is that okay for you to have a distinct and non-conventional coaching style? These are all important and bold questions. If I do bring my unfiltered self to sessions, will the sessions be more about me than my client? Coaches aim to keep the space client-centered, and sometimes they do it to such extent that they try to suppress themselves in a way. Well, maybe suppress is quite a strong word, but what I really mean is that they try to stay focused on the client so much that they become less connected with themselves. The truth is that your clients are going to benefit from you being authentic more than from you being perfect. Meeting the real you invites your clients to bring their real selves too, which helps them get more profound insights. Your coaching style is part of the coaching process. It's one of the tools, if you wish, that you use to serve your clients. Now let's talk about how you can start to uncover and own it. First of all, as long as you know what kind of person you are, you already know what kind of coach you are. As a person, you haven't changed. Your learning style, your values, your character traits, all these make you you. Maybe you have a unique sense of humor. Maybe people see you as someone who can feel deeply. Maybe you're a deep thinker and your presence helps everyone slow down. Or maybe you're a super logical person who's good at putting pieces of puzzle together. Think about things that you truly enjoy in your work. Think about how you might integrate them in your approach. See yourself as an orchestra or maybe a jazz band, whichever is closer to your heart. In either case, you have so many instruments ready to play at the same time and create a beautiful melody. Now imagine what all these instruments can do and the magic that they can create when they're carefully orchestrated. I often talk about using self as a tool and self as a context to support clients' growth and insight. And if we talk about a coaching style from this perspective, then the question should probably be, to what extent does a coach having a distinct style and bringing their full self into the session support or probably get in the way of the client's process? Because it's not about simply having a style. It's about what difference it starts to make, whether it benefits your client or whether it gets in the way. Well, honestly, most of the time, a well-trained coach is not going to do anything wrong. A well-trained coach most likely will not practice unethical behaviors, will not be rude, condescending, or dismissive. So feel free to experiment. Experimentation may be necessary just to see yourselves more clearly and see something new about yourself. In this episode, I'd also like to explore with you some ways to start looking for the pieces that may shape your unique coaching style. And if you need a place to start, reflect on your life experiences and values. Your history, your worldview, your personal growth journey, they all shape how you hold space, ask questions, and build trust. If you have overcome adversity, you may naturally hold space for resilience. If you are deeply intuitive, you may bring depth and attunement. Others may not. If you value structure, you may offer clarity and forward momentum. What makes you different is how you show up because of your story. In sessions, notice how you feel when you are most present. Your authentic self often shows up when you are fully present and not trying to do coaching perfectly. It's not a performance. When you feel most yourself, you are likely coaching from authenticity. Ask yourself, when do I feel most like myself in coaching? It might be in deep silence, in bold confrontation, in creative metaphor, in structured planning, or in being humorous and lighthearted. At the same time, get curious about when you feel off in sessions. Reflections help you notice when you are aligned with your coaching presence and when you are performing, or maybe letting your fear take the mic. Ask yourself, what part of me is trying to take over? What am I trying to protect or avoid? When we understand our protectors, we can gently choose to show up more vulnerably. Another idea for you is to pay attention to what your clients consistently thank you for. Sometimes we overlook our strengths because they feel so natural to us. But your clients will often reflect them back without you even asking. Maybe they say something like, "You always make me feel safe," or "You help me see that in a way I couldn't do before," or "You don't let me off the hook, and I really need that." Start collecting those comments. They are pointing to your natural coaching gifts, and ask your peers for feedback too. Another idea would be to listen to recordings of your sessions and use a strength lens. When reviewing sessions, which I strongly recommend that you do from time to time, pay attention to the moments when you feel most alive, curious, or connected. What came effortlessly to you? Where you offered something powerful without forcing it. They are clues to your unique voice as a coach. And don't forget to use supervision or mentoring to hold up a mirror. It's very hard to see your own coaching clearly. In both types of work, your mentor, coach, or supervisor can help you spot moments when you were deeply authentic and also when you may have slipped into autopilot. This mirroring is powerful and also kind. We often do better than we think, and we sometimes need someone to show us. Well, last but not least, let go of needing to be the expert and experiment. Be in the flow. Stay real, human, and present. Letting go of being right frees you to be with a client instead of doing coaching to them. You know, as a mentor coach, when I listen to live sessions or recordings, I sometimes sense tension. And in those situations, I might invite a coach to explore whether they are limiting themselves, whether they are holding back. I love experimentation, and there's a lot of experimentation in my approach, and I would often invite a coach to experiment in one of the future sessions and not just experiment with the methods that they are using, but experiment with the ways they are being with their clients, perhaps by trying to be more relaxed, inviting more spontaneity and ease, letting go of inner urgency, and just being themselves without worrying that they do something wrong. That's all that I have for today. Your authentic self is already there. It's not something you create, but it's something that you uncover by noticing and trusting yourself. And the more you practice coaching from that place, the more natural and fulfilling it becomes for both you and your clients. Thank you for staying with me. If you believe this episode could resonate with other coaches, I would be thrilled if you could spread the word on your social media. For anyone aiming to enhance their coaching skills, check out the Upthink Coaching website. We offer programs tailored for both novice and experienced coaches, as well as mentor coaching and supervision support. For that, go to www.upthinkcoaching.com. I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. My next podcast episode is going to be on coaching the who and what it really means. Stay tuned and let's connect again next time.